Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, American citizens. I'm Useful Idiot, and today is the 11th anniversary of the September 11th event. And I was very reluctant to post anything because a couple reasons. One, of course, there's a vast volume of material already available on 9/11. I'm sure there was hundreds of thousands of videos posted just today about the 9/11 event. And the other reason I hesitate to post anything is because there is an argument that the 9/11 event is another conceivable conspiracy that, regardless of how you feel about it, there's not much you can really do about it at this point, so it's not worth talking about. And there is a certain amount of truth to that, because we have a history of conspiracy-shrouded events in America, and this is another one that we may never know the answers to. And we don't even have all the answers to the Lincoln assassination over 150 years ago. And of course we've added to that since then the John F. Kennedy assassination, the Robert F. Kennedy assassination, the Martin Luther King assassination, Ruby Ridge, Waco, the Oklahoma City bombing, and more recently the mass shootings that have occurred where there's so many anomalies and inconsistencies and unanswered questions. And it's kind of a sad commentary that we've arrived at a point where we can't really trust the simple facts of any event that happens anymore. And it's also a sad commentary that it's gotten to the point where technology has advanced so far that recordings or videos or photographs can no longer be trusted because the technology is available to create extremely convincing evidence. And so that only clouds the issue more. But that said, let's talk about 9/11 a little bit, and let's talk about it in the big picture. And the fact is, it is the pivotal moment of America moving into the 21st century. All that America has become since 2001 is because of the 9/11 event. The United States has spent trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars and will continue to spend trillions of dollars because of the 9/11 event. We have vast new bureaucracy in the Department of Homeland Security and the TSA and all the other new government organizations that have been created as a result of the 9/11 event. We have a military presence in nearly every country in the world because of the 9/11 event. We have a vast and exponentially growing surveillance and police state in the United States of America because of the 9/11 event. We have a foreign policy that's changing the landscape of the Middle East because of the events on 9/11. We have our civil liberties under attack, and the Constitution is being circumvented because of the events on 9/11. Those are the basic facts. That is 9/11 in the big picture. But one of the things that I find interesting about 9/11 is, just like everything, it has become a bullshit partisan issue that divides Americans. There are truthers, and then there are people who hate truthers. And I find it a really interesting phenomenon, particularly in light of the fact that for 8 years of Bush, we had the truther movement. And now, after 4 years of Obama, we have the birther movement. And the birthers and the truthers don't really seem to like each other, and they don't want to really examine each other's conspiracies. And of course, the truthers are generally liberals, and they were willing to look at the anomalies and the questions and the inconsistencies of 9/11 because it happened under the Bush administration. And of course, conservatives are very interested in the fake birth certificate issue because it's happening under the Obama administration. And it's very unfortunate that more conservatives can't get on board with at least examining the 9/11 event just because it happened under Bush. Because I can promise you that if 9/11 had happened under Obama, conservatives would be poring over every detail. And trust me, I'm spreading the love, because the liberals should also be interested in a fake birth certificate. That is an important issue as well. They are not concerned because it's under their president, the Obama administration. So that's a sad commentary that this has become a partisan issue as well. And I don't really want to get into discussing 9/11 and all the questions and all the inconsistencies and all the anomalies and the conspiracies that seem to hold up and the debunking that seems to have been successful. There is a vast amount of material available, and I think everyone should look at it. And that's my big picture, my bottom line. Why be critical and attack those who are looking for the truth, whether they are truthers or whether they are birthers? There are unanswered questions. And the fact is, most Americans know that they can't trust our government, that our government lies about everything under the sun, especially the economy. And yet, for some reason, a lot of Americans want to trust the government when they tell us about wars, and they tell us about foreign policy, and they tell us about events like 9/11. So, very peculiar. I'm not really going to discuss the 9/11 events, and I'm not even going to state what my personal views are on the 9/11 events. My bottom line and my big picture is this is a very pivotal moment in American history. It is the defining moment about where America is at today. Everything that America's become since 2001 is because of this 9/11 event. All I want to say is that all Americans should look at all the material. What have you got to lose? I'll tell you my little story just so you can put it in perspective. And that is the fact that when the 9/11 happened, it took a while for me to actually look at some of the other material that was out there. I looked at the events and on the face value, and I accepted them. And I've since looked at a lot of the material that has surfaced since then that asks a lot of questions. And let me just say that I find it very fascinating, very interesting. And indeed, there are a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of anomalies, a lot of unanswered questions. And I have to say there is a lot of unanswered questions, anomalies, and inconsistencies. So it's worth asking the question. So it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or whether you're a Democrat, whether you're liberal or whether you're conservative, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Christian, whether you are a pacifist or whether you're a warmonger. This event is important enough that every American citizen should look at the material out there and decide for yourself. You may have already made a decision. You have your own mythologies, your own preconceptions, your own ideas, and that's all fine and good. We all do. But this is a crucial, pivotal moment in American history that has a lot of importance and impacts American citizens every day with our domestic and foreign policies. And nearly every event in the world that's unfolding right now, has to do somehow with the 9/11 event. So all I'm asking is that all Americans put all these other considerations aside and just look at the evidence and look at the material out there. And so that's my bottom line, my big picture. It's worth looking at one more time. And I think American citizens have a responsibility to themselves and to their country to look at all the material and put all your prejudices aside. And that's my bottom line. That's my big picture. But let me add that I want to say, God bless America. God bless the world. And may all the victims of 9/11 rest in peace and find justice. And that includes the 3,000 Americans that died at the event on 2011, and all the aid workers and emergency workers, police and firemen that have died since that event in New York City. and all the people around the globe, in countries all over the world, that have died because of that event on 9/11. The tragedy continues to unfold, and for that reason, it's still important too. I'm Useful Idiot. Don't you be one too.